Meanwhile, Kafka was training alone in the field, practicing how to kill cockroaches. Hoshina told him that the key to Defense Force combat style is in the legs. You generate the power in the legs and then send it to the fists. So the first step was making the body memorize the 5 basic moves. The Japanese guy said he would check in twice a week to see how he was doing, and he would know if Kafka was slacking. While training, Kafka got a cramp and started rolling around like a clumsy dog. Then Kikoru shows up saying Defense Force combat techniques are perfect for someone who cannot handle weapon. Kafka gets mad and tells her to try it too because it is really hard. But she knows all about it because her dad did this every single day. Kafka then says he needs to push himself even harder. And Kikoru notices that he finally overcame what was bothering him. She tells him there is a reward. Kafka thinks he is about to get a big kiss. But nope, it is just his phone they had confiscated. Vice Captain Hasegawa says to give it back. And the blonde girl says it is a good idea to text the team since he hasn't talked to them in ages. So he goes to his room and really wants to talk to them, but he has no idea what to say. It had been almost 2 months since he was kicked out of the squad. Now everyone knows he is Kaiju number 8, and he does not know what they think of him. He turns on his phone, and suddenly 200 notifications start popping up per second. He had 503 unread messages. He imagines everyone is probably calling him a lying monster. Out of nowhere, Ichikawa calls him, and he freaks out and hangs up. Then Iharu calls, and he answers, but then Ichikawa appears, furious, asking why he only answers Iharu. He starts yelling at Kafka, asking if he has chicken brains for disappearing for 2 months. Kafka explains that he was not allowed to contact them, but Reino says he probably did not even try, and he is sure it was Kikoru who got his phone back. Reno says Kafka was very worried, but Kafka was afraid he could never be part of the 3rd Division again. He was scared that everyone would be afraid of him, now that they knew he is number 8. Iharu says of course they are scared. After all, his power is not human, it is kaiju level, but that does not mean they do not like him, especially since he risked his life to save the entire base. After that, no one could say he is not part of the team. Kafka remembers Captain Mina saying that nobody in the 3rd Division sees him as an enemy. Iharu gets mad because he thought they were all that cruel. Ichikawa tells him to trust them more. Everyone believed he would come back. After that, Kikoru calls Kafka for group training, but he complains that Ichikawa and Iharu called him an idiot. Shinomiya freaks out seeing him crying from all the messages of people rooting for him. Kikoru says everyone knows he is dumb, and he cannot believe she thinks he is dumb too. Meanwhile, Director Isao still has some consciousness. He tried to resist, but was at the end of the line. He says the kaijus are growing far faster than he imagined. After that, many kaiju start appearing in the city. One huge one appears while a hunter is exploring. Another with 3 faces floats in front of the train station. In the city center, there is even a ballerina kaiju. Fish rain from the sky, and a couple has to hide under a surfboard because a massive kaiju is in the sea, devouring everything. Even on the road, a speedster kaiju is racing against cars. There were 14 unresolved kaiju incidents in just the last month, and the only thing they had in common is that they all vanished before the Defense Force arrived. Then in Shibuya District, a kaiju appears looking exactly like Gothic Kikoru, and it is probably number 9 behind this. Researchers say the kaijus are being created faster than number 10 said, and they need to be ready soon. Hasegawa says they divided the government's main duties and set up backup generators. They reinforced the cities, encouraged preemptive evacuations, and expanded the underground shelter. Everything was going according to plan. But if multiple kaijus appear like the one that took down Isao so easily, that might not be enough. Director Isao's consciousness was almost gone. Now all he could do was leave things in the hands of Narumi, Captain Ashiro, the young warriors, and most importantly, Kafka. He asked them to save the country's future. Narumi ordered Kikoru to master that weapon, which was already adjusted to her height and attributes. It was number 4, the same weapon that had seen multiple battles and defeated several kaijus alongside Hikari Shinomiya. Kikoru touches the glass, promising to avenge her father, and prays for strength from her mother. 3 months after those unresolved kaiju incidents, news started reporting a mysterious drop in attacks. Suddenly, the monsters completely vanished, and it had already been 46 days without a single appearance. Meanwhile, a little girl tells her mom not to worry, because even if number 9 shows up, Uncle Kaiju would come back and finish him. At the Ariake Sea Base, one scientist panics, thinking there is an earthquake, but the other says it is just Captain Narumi and Kikoru training. They go every day to the fortified training room, and it is basically a battle between numbered weapon users. The tension rises when another scientist points out that the fate of the entire country is on the line. At Daiba 2, the 1st and 3rd Divisions open heavy fire during training. The troops arrive with massive cannons, spitting lasers like a futuristic rave. Kafka was in an intense training session with Hoshina. He goes all out, thinking he is crushing it, pumped up saying he finally feels the power. But then Hoshina switches things up, tossing him in the air like a sack of potatoes, saying he still has a long way to go. Kafka gets annoyed, saying that was unnecessary. He wants the vice captain to acknowledge his strength. Kafka heads to the rooftop thinking he will have lunch alone, but finds Mina already sitting there. He tries to sneak away embarrassed, thinking he cannot eat next to the captain, but Mina tells him to stay and says there is no need to be shy. Awkwardly, Kafka compliments her, saying it is exactly what he expected from the most powerful captain in the defense force. So the two end up eating side by side, while she senses that this calm moment is just the silence before the storm. Mina says that the peaceful vibe almost feels like the kaijus vanished for good. Kafka, being a goof, agrees with a smile, but quickly remembers who he is sitting next to and tries to correct himself, calling her ma'am. The captain relaxes, saying it is fine now since it is just the two of them. She talks about when they were kids, how as soon as the alarm went off, Kafka was the first to come and get her to the shelter. She says it was a little embarrassing, but he says she was the vice captain of Kafka's division, so it was normal for him as a captain to worry, right? Mina says that even though she was scared, Kafka was smiling to calm her down. It was like even if a kaiju popped up, he could handle it. For some reason, that made her feel fearless, and she says he is still absolutely amazing. He was the one who saved the Tachikawa base. She says Hoshina told her about his decision. She says she has grown stronger and no longer needs to hide behind him. Then she tells him not to try to carry all the burden alone, because they promised to take down the kaijus together. Kafka smiles, saying she is right, and she goes back to work, saying he has not changed a bit, still smiling, pretending to be brave. The big guy starts wondering if he can actually beat that monster, but he has to win for the future of everyone. Meanwhile, at the train station, two guys try to hit on a girl alone. They invite her to eat and tell her she can bring a friend if she wants, but this was actually the kaiju with Kikoru's skin, saying it was about to call her friends anyway. It transforms into its kaiju form and starts wrecking everyone, piercing through the chests of anyone nearby, and it even signals its companions to attack. Man, what an insane episode was this.